It's a form of forced labor that primarily impacts women and girls. The International Labor Organization estimates at any point, more than 6.3 million people are being sexually exploited in exchange for money.
In 2021, researchers published the results of a study seeking to identify some of the physical signs that someone is being trafficked.
In addition to injuries such as burns and cuts, experts found abusers use tattoos to brand their victims. That's something tattoo artist Gina Jernukian had to learn on the job in Phoenix, Arizona.
The next thing I know, I would say in a matter of 3 months, there were so many odd tattoos, crowns and names and just tattoos that didn't make sense. Enough so where I started asking around, like, what are these? And someone had told me they're brandings. I didn't even know that existed.
Now she helps survivors rewrite their stories by covering them with her art.
Afterwards, the transformation, it's almost like a weight's lifted off of them. They don't have to see this visible signs of this painful past every single day that they look in the mirror.
About 1,500 miles away, a nonprofit helps survivors heal by removing their branding tattoos.
Reporter Tan Trung shows us how and introduces us to two women with a renewed sense of hope.
New Orleans can be a postcard-worthy place, but for two women,
I was mainly trafficked in the French Quarter, and so I cannot go in the French Quarter at all.
there are certain parts of the city they avoid.
I drive through different parts of the city, and I remember being the person just like outside of the world, watching it go by.
Both Jane and Michelle want to keep their identities private, but they do identify as survivors of sex trafficking.
I didn't really know if I was going to live or die.
For Jane, her first 6 years in what she and Michelle call the life started around 2012.
Very early 20s, I had a loss in my family.
Jane says for a time she was homeless and would stay with people for shelter and survival. She says sex trafficking followed, and so did some of the darkest and most dangerous moments of her young life.
I'm lucky to be alive. I was almost sold overseas, but I escaped.
Michelle says she was trafficked in her late teens. When she tried to escape, she says her trafficker left his mark on her body through tattoos.
Well, for my trafficker's name, it was on my thigh, so anytime I wore shorts, it was like the ownership was there. The other tattoos that I had, which is symbols of my trafficker, what he saw me as, and then I also tattooed my name on my body in case anyone found my body, that they would have a point of information of how to identify me.
The trafficker will sell a boy or a girl to another trafficker, and then that sex trafficker will put his brand, his tattoo, on that boy or girl.
Scott Vaughn, who owns a rehabilitation and aesthetics clinic in Metairie, says up until a few years ago, he didn't know the prevalence of human and sex trafficking in Louisiana. In 2020, he bought this high-powered laser and began offering tattoo removal.
And when I saw how effective that laser was from one treatment, something just spoke to me. And I knew that I had something here. I knew that I had something that I could give back to the community and society with.
He couldn't figure out how to quite do that with the laser until his friend told him about a medical conference she attended where a sex trafficking survivor spoke about her trauma, including the lasting effects of tattoos and brandings. That planted the seed for what would become Unbranded, Vaughn's nonprofit offering tattoo removals to survivors. He says a meeting on Mardi Gras 2022 put everything in focus.
And that's where I actually spoke to the first survivor and got very emotional in that meeting, to say the least.
That survivor, Michelle.
In that meeting, he did not know that I was a survivor. And so I immediately just started crying. And I was like, you could get rid of these brandings on me. And he goes, yes.
Unbranded also removed the tattoo on Jane's face.
I still have to stop and just be filled with gratitude that isn't what I see or what people see today, especially with how my life has developed, and now how I feel anything is possible.
It's like having that removed gives me a clean slate of now I have my body back.
Michelle now uses her unique insight into trafficking with her consulting company, which often collaborates with the Governor's Office of Human Trafficking Prevention. Jane, too, is on a new path.
I have an amazing little daughter, and I have just got to a point where I accepted a job that I'm going to be starting next week. I'm in a very good spot in my life.
A life with fewer scars of the past. According to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the typical cost of laser tattoo removal is almost $700. But experts say for larger tattoos or tattoos with certain pigment, that price can reach the thousands. Unbranded provides the service to survivors for free. Since 2022, the service has treated 43 survivors and so far removed 350 tattoos. Reporting in New Orleans, I'm Tom Trung.
If you or someone you know is being victimized by human trafficking, help is out there. The National Human Trafficking Hotline is free and confidential. It also provides guidance on the red flags of trafficking and safety tips for traveling across the country or abroad. Just call the number on your screen or head to humantraffickinghotline.org.